The ReadyLIFT 3.5-inch SST Lift Kit is available for any F150 owner looking to pick up a stainless steel tubular lift kit that brings your front end up 3.5 inches and your rear 2.5. Not only does this lift your truck, but it levels out the exterior appearance as well, and even allows for up to a 35-inch tire. In addition to the bare necessities, you're also going to be getting some upper control arms as well as upgraded ball joints, among other things, which will help to correct your suspension geometry, all while keeping a factory-like ride quality. Now, this is a middle-of-the-road kit. Expect the price tag around the $700 region for a very good reason. Now, the installation doesn't require any cutting, but it still is pretty involved, so I'm giving it a 2 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. Right off the bat, you need to know that this particular kit was manufactured using a high-quality process, which allows for top-quality materials. It includes a few extra goodies on top of the bare necessities, so it does make it a bit more premium. Now, the 3.5-inch offset top mount spacers here do have a unique design to ReadyLIFT. It was CNC machined out of a high quality aerospace grade billet aluminum and has a unique offset bolt design here which allows the strut to stay in its proper position. That basically just means your front struts are kept in the exact same position they were in from the Ford factory, so you keep an OEM-like suspension quality. In addition to that, you're also getting a set of machined billet preload spacers that will sit between the spring and the top of the strut hat to preload the springs. This will also act as a droop limiter, which will increase the durability of the CV axles. It's worth mentioning here, this kit does not include anything to correct the CV angles. If you're not really off-roading all too often, then it's probably not a huge concern for you. However, if you're hitting the trails more often than not, or more than the average Joe, you might want to look into a more inclusive kit here that will offer, differential drop spacers and whatnot to correct those angles and improve the off-road experience. The rear blocks are freshly milled solid blocks of billet aluminum, which include locator pins and even a flat and tapered design. Now, the taper design is more for the one-piece drive shaft owner simply because it'll help correct the drive shaft angle. Now, the flat option may require some added shims, in which case the two-piece drive shaft owners will use the carrier bearing spacers. Now, obviously, you can pick which one suits your particular build when you're at the checkout page. In addition to all that, the SST Lift Kit is more centered around the DOM, or drawn-over mandrel tubular steel upper control arms. Now, the DOM manufacturing process is made to use the highest quality materials and highest quality finished products. It even includes a 14-degree ball joint cup, which allows for the proper anglage over some of the other options available. That'll also help extend the lifetime of your tires and, of course, improve your handling. In addition to that, you'll see one-time polyurethane bushings included for the upper control arms, which are great for both on and off-road usage, and even have NVH, or noise, vibration, and harshness cancellation qualities. As I mentioned, it is a more premium kit since it does include a couple of extra goods over the stock necessities. Because of that, the $700 mark is what you should be aiming at for this particular kit. Entry levels would give you the bare necessities like the spacers and blocks, but really won't do anything for the guys looking to do more off-roading. However, the more premium options as far as $1,000 kits will definitely offer some shocks and struts, maybe even some springs in the process. So it really comes down to how much off-roading you're doing and how much you're looking to correct the suspension and keep the factory ride quality. As I mentioned, the installation is a little bit more involved than a direct bolt-on, but of course really does not require any cutting or drilling. With that said, 2 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter, a ratchet and socket set will do the trick with some extensions, a mallet for the suspension, and then of course jack and jack stands or a lift if you have access to one. The front end isn't too involved. What you'll have to do is get the truck up in the air, of course, wheels and tires have to be removed, and then you're going to have to tackle removing your factory control arms, which will obviously disconnect using a ratchet and socket set. The mallet might come in handy for the parts that are tough to get out. Now, the strut will come out as well, and the strut you'll place obviously the preload spacers between the spring and the top of the strut hat, and then of course you're going to put the spacers on top as well. These will help correct the angle of the strut. Once you reinstall those, you can actually install the new upper control arms and ball joints into place. Once everything is torqued down, you can start moving on to the rear. For the rear, all you'll have to do is lift up the rear end of the truck, remove the wheels and tires just like you did for the front. You have to lower the frame down just a bit to pull out the factory blocks and U-bolts, swap them out with the lifted blocks we have here with the higher quality, and then obviously swap out the longer U-bolts to compensate for the added lift. Once all that's taken care of, you'll be good to go. If you're the owner of an 09 to 13 F150, whether it's 2-wheel or 4-wheel drive, you might want to check out the ReadyLIFT 3.5-inch SST Lift Kit available right here at AmericanTrucks.com.